Serialization is the process of saving objects to an object output stream, where each object is assigned a unique serial number. Reading the objects back from an object output stream is called deserialization. In order to use serialization, a class must implement the serializable interface before saving objects into an object output stream. Serializable interface has no methods, it is just a marking or tagging interface. The ObjectOutputStream and ObjectInputStream classes are used for object serialization. The serialVersionUID is a unique identifier. It must match when deserializing objects. The transient keyword is used to exclude the value of a variable from being serialized. Why do we use serialization? We use serialization because a serialized object persists the type of both the data and the object. This makes it easy to perform any data-specific operations without casting or parsing. To demonstrate the concept of serialization, we create a country class file for storing information about a country. We need to import the serializable interface, which is located in the Java I/O package. It is necessary for the classes to implement it before using the serialization. Declare the instance variables of the class. In our case we need only 3 variables, country name, area and population. Notice that the class attributes are preceded by the private access modifier in order to restrict their access outside the class. Create a constructor for the country class to initialize the instance variables when an object is instantiated. Inside the constructor, we initialize the private members of the country class. Now create the getter methods for accessing the private members of the class. They return the appropriate data as specified in the return type of the method. Create a getCountryName method, which will return the name of a country. Now create a getter method that returns the area of a country. Now create the getPopulation method, it returns the population of a country. Getter and setter methods are also called accessor and mutator methods. An accessor method returns information about an object and does not change the data. Whereas, a setter or mutator method does change the internal data of an object. Now create a class file for the continent class. It will hold information regarding the continent and the belonging countries. This class also implements the serializable interface, hence must be imported. We also import the ArrayList class of Java util package. It is required for holding a list of country class objects. Declare the appropriate class variables preceded by the private access modifier keyword. The constructor of the continent class will initialize the continent name and will create an empty object reference to the ArrayList variable. The getContinent method will return the name of the continent as a string type when required. The addCountry method will accept a country class object as an argument, and will save the country information into the country's ArrayList variable. The viewCountries method will format and display the list of the countries for each continent. For each loop will iterate through the each list item stored inside the array list. The print method will format the values according to the provided format specifiers. A minus sign or hyphen format specifier is used for left alignment of the output. If the minus sign is skipped, then the data will be aligned right. A format specifier describes how a value should be formatted for display. Format specifiers begin with the %sign, followed by an alignment operator or field width value for padding the content. We call the getter methods of the country class to display the attributes for each country object returned from the array list. Now create a demonstrative class for evaluating the object serialization. We import all the required classes that are needed for object serialization. We import file class for opening the serialized file. IOException class for any input-output exceptions. FileInputStream class is required by the ObjectInputStream class for reading objects. FileOutputStream class is required by the ObjectOutputStream class for writing object. We don't implement the serializable interface here, because we don't create or save objects of this class. This class will contain the main method, from which the program execution will begin. Create two objects of the continent class and specify the path of the object serialization input-output file. Instantiate a file class object that will contain the name and the path of the file for storing the serialized objects. For demo purposes, we will check for the file existence before saving any objects. If the file does not exist already, then we will write the objects to the ObjectOutputStream file. We use a try with resources statement to ensure the opening and closing of the output stream. Now create an ObjectOutputStream object connected with the FileOutputStream for writing objects. The serialized objects will be written in binary form to the stream. Catch for any input-output exception. Now instantiate the Asia continent object and pass its name as an argument to the continent constructor. Now add the countries for the specified continent. The countries will be stored in the array list. The addCountry method will create a country information object by calling the country class constructor. After that, each country object will be saved as a reference into the array list. We will add information about three most populous Asian countries, that is China, India, and Pakistan. We pass three values as argument to the constructor of each country object, that is country name, area, and the population. The Europe object will contain data about two European countries, that is Russia and Germany. The writeObject method will write the objects to the ObjectOutputStream. In our case, the country.ser file will do this. When we are done with writing the objects, we will display a success message to the screen for confirmation. Now run the file. Output is showing the result as successful. Notice that the file country.ser, which contains the serialized objects, is also created. As it contains binary data, the editor will not display anything if we open it. The first part of the object serialization is done. Now move on to the next part for reading serialized objects. This process is called deserialization.